The morning sun streamed through the tall windows of Buckingham Palace as King Charles III sat alone in his private study. Papers were scattered across his mahogany desk, but his mind wasn't on state affairs. Instead, he found himself thinking about his daughter-in-law, Kate, and how much she reminded him of his late mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Charles had always admired Kate's grace and dedication to the royal family. Over the years, he watched her transform from a nervous young woman into a confident princess, then into the poised Princess of Wales. She handled every royal duty with the same quiet dignity that his mother had possessed. Unlike the drama that often surrounded other family members, Kate brought stability and warmth to the monarchy. Recently, Charles noticed something troubling. The media and public seemed to be losing interest in Camilla, his wife and the queen consort. Photo requests for Camilla had decreased significantly, and when they appeared together at events, photographers focused mainly on him. The public's enthusiasm for Camilla had never matched their love for Diana, and now it seemed to be fading even more. Meanwhile, Kate's popularity continued to soar. Wherever she went, crowds gathered with genuine excitement. Children waved flags with her picture, and adults spoke about her with real affection. She had that special quality that connected with people's hearts, something that couldn't be taught or forced. It came naturally to her, just as it had to his mother and to Diana. Charles began to see Kate as the future of the monarchy. She represented everything the royal family needed to remain relevant and beloved by the people. Her work with children's charities, mental health awareness, and early childhood development showed she understood modern Britain's needs. She wasn't just performing royal duties. She was making a real difference in people's lives. The king started spending more time with Kate during family gatherings. He would seek her opinion on various matters and found her insights refreshing and thoughtful. She had a way of seeing things clearly, without the complications that often clouded royal decision-making. Her background as a commoner gave her a perspective that was invaluable to the family. During one particular conversation, Charles realized that Kate understood the weight of royal responsibility better than many who were born into it. She spoke about the privilege of serving the people and how she never took that trust lightly. Her words reminded him of conversations he'd had with his mother about duty and service. Charles also noticed how well Kate got along with William. Their marriage seemed strong and genuine, built on real love and mutual respect. This stability was exactly what the monarchy needed after years of scandals and divorces. They represented hope for a new generation of royals who could balance tradition with modern values. As weeks passed, Charles found himself naturally turning to Kate more often for support and companionship during royal events. She had an ease about her that made difficult situations manageable. When meeting with foreign dignitaries or attending challenging ceremonies, her presence brought a calming influence that he had come to depend on. The shift was subtle but noticeable to those who paid attention to royal dynamics. Charles was beginning to see Kate not just as his son's wife, but as a true partner in leading the monarchy into the future. Her combination of modern appeal and traditional values made her the perfect person to help bridge the gap between the old ways and the new expectations of the British people. Meanwhile, Camilla seemed to sense the changing winds. She had always known that her role as queen consort would be complicated, given the public's enduring love for Diana. But now she could feel herself becoming less central to Charles's vision for the monarchy. The realization was both painful and inevitable. Charles's growing focus on Kate wasn't born from any dissatisfaction with Camilla personally. Rather, it came from his recognition that the monarchy needed to evolve, and Kate represented that evolution perfectly. She embodied the qualities that would ensure the royal family's continued relevance and respect in the 21st century. The king began to understand that his legacy would largely depend on how well he prepared the next generation to lead. Kate's natural ability to connect with people, combined with her genuine commitment to service, made her an invaluable asset. She was already proving herself to be one of the most effective members of the royal family, and Charles knew that supporting her rise would benefit everyone. The change became more apparent during the annual garden party at Buckingham Palace. Hundreds of guests from various charities and organizations had gathered on the pristine lawn, hoping for a chance to meet the royal family. As Charles walked through the crowds with Kate by his side, he noticed how naturally she connected with everyone they met. A young mother approached them, carrying her disabled son in her arms. While Charles offered the traditional polite words, Kate knelt down to the child's level and spoke to him directly. Her genuine warmth brought tears to the mother's eyes, and Charles watched in amazement as Kate promised to look into the family situation personally. This wasn't just royal protocol. This was real compassion in action. Throughout the afternoon, Charles found himself stepping back slightly, allowing Kate to take the lead in many conversations. She had an instinct for knowing exactly what to say and do. When an elderly veteran shared stories about his service, Kate listened with such genuine interest that the man's face lit up with joy. She remembered details about his regiment and asked thoughtful questions that showed she truly cared. Camilla, who was supposed to be co-hosting the event, found herself increasingly sidelined. Guests naturally gravitated toward Kate and Charles, leaving Camilla to make polite conversation with smaller groups. She tried to maintain her composure, but the contrast was impossible to ignore. Where Kate sparkled with natural charisma, Camilla seemed to fade into the background. The media coverage that followed the garden party told the whole story. Every major newspaper featured photographs of Charles and Kate together, with headlines praising their perfect partnership and dynamic duo. Camilla appeared in only a few background shots, and the articles barely mentioned her presence at the event she was supposed to co-host. Charles began arranging more one-on-one meetings with Kate to discuss royal business. They would sit in his private office, drinking tea and talking about upcoming engagements, charity work, and the future direction of the monarchy. Kate's ideas were fresh and practical, showing she understood both tradition and the need for modernization. During one of these meetings, Kate shared her vision for expanding the royal family's work with mental health initiatives. She spoke passionately about breaking down stigmas and reaching young people who were struggling. Charles was impressed by her detailed research and thoughtful approach. She wasn't just talking about ideas. She had concrete plans for making a real difference. The king found himself looking forward to these conversations more than his official state meetings. Kate brought an energy and optimism that reinvigorated his own sense of purpose. She helped him see possibilities he hadn't considered and reminded him why the monarchy mattered to ordinary people. Their collaboration extended beyond formal meetings. Charles began inviting Kate to join him for private visits to various organizations and charities. These weren't official royal engagements, but personal fact-finding missions that allowed them to understand issues more deeply. Kate's ability to put people at ease made these visits incredibly productive. During a visit to a homeless shelter, Charles watched Kate sit on the floor with a group of young people, listening to their stories without any judgment. She asked about their dreams and challenges, offering genuine encouragement and practical advice. The shelter workers later told Charles they had never seen the residents open up so quickly to a visitor. These experiences strengthened the bond between Charles and Kate. He began to see her not just as family, but as a true partner in his mission to serve the British people. Her natural empathy combined with her royal training made her uniquely qualified to carry the monarchy forward into the modern era. Meanwhile, the palace staff noticed the shifting dynamics. Kate's office received more requests for meetings and collaboration, while Camilla's schedule became noticeably lighter. The change wasn't officially announced, but everyone could sense the new direction. Camilla tried to maintain her dignity throughout these changes. She continued performing her royal duties with professionalism, but the enthusiasm and central role she once enjoyed were clearly diminishing. She could see Charles's attention and energy flowing toward Kate, and while she understood the practical reasons, the emotional impact was undeniable. The public response to Charles and Kate's increased collaboration was overwhelmingly positive. Opinion polls showed rising approval ratings for the monarchy, with many people specifically citing Kate's influence as a positive factor. Social media buzzed with praise for their partnership and speculation about Kate's growing role. Charles realized that this transition was not just beneficial, but necessary for the monarchy's survival. Kate represented the future, and aligning himself with her ensured that the royal family would remain relevant and beloved. The decision wasn't just about personal preference. It was about securing the institution's long-term success and continuing his mother's legacy of devoted service to the nation. The turning point came during a state visit from the President of France. This was one of the most important diplomatic events of the year, requiring perfect coordination and flawless execution. Charles had always relied on Camilla for such occasions, but this time he specifically requested Kate's involvement in the planning and hosting duties. Kate threw herself into the preparations with characteristic thoroughness. She studied French culture and history, learned key phrases in French, and researched the president's interests and background. Her attention to detail impressed the palace staff, who were used to working with royals who expected others to handle such preparation. On the day of the state banquet, Kate looked absolutely radiant. She wore a stunning blue gown that honored both British elegance and French sophistication. As she greeted the French delegation alongside Charles, her confidence and warmth were immediately apparent. The French president's wife was particularly charmed by Kate's efforts to speak French and her knowledge of French art and literature. Throughout the evening, Charles watched with growing pride as Kate navigated complex diplomatic conversations with ease. She managed to be both respectful of protocol and genuinely engaging. Foreign ministers found themselves drawn into animated discussions with her about cultural exchange programs and educational initiatives. Her natural intelligence and curiosity made her an excellent representative of modern Britain. Camilla, who was seated at the high table but seemed somewhat peripheral to the main conversations, tried her best to contribute meaningfully. However, the contrast was stark. While Kate effortlessly commanded attention and respect, Camilla appeared to be going through the motions. The international media covering the event focused almost entirely on Charles and Kate's performance as hosts. The success of the state visit marked a new chapter in Charles's approach to royal duties. He began formally including Kate in more high-level meetings and diplomatic events. Her fresh perspective and modern approach brought new energy to traditional royal functions. She wasn't just accompanying him, she was actively contributing to the success of these important occasions. Their working relationship deepened as they tackled various royal projects together. Kate's background in art history proved valuable when planning cultural exhibitions and museum partnerships. Her understanding of modern communication helped them develop more effective ways to connect with younger generations. Charles found himself learning from her as much as mentoring her. The king also noticed how Kate's influence extended to other family members. She had a gift for bringing people together and smoothing over potential conflicts. During family meetings, she could find common ground between different viewpoints and help everyone focus on shared goals. This diplomatic skill was invaluable in managing the complex dynamics of a large royal family. Palace insiders began referring to Charles and Kate as the dream team. Their combination of experience and fresh energy seemed to bring out the best in both of them. Charles felt reinvigorated by Kate's optimism and innovative ideas, while Kate benefited from his decades of experience and deep understanding of constitutional matters. The media coverage reflected this new dynamic. Magazines and newspapers featured countless articles about Charles and Kate's successful partnership. Royal commentators praised their modern approach to traditional duties and their obvious mutual respect. The coverage was overwhelmingly positive, something that had been rare for the royal family in recent years. During this period, Camilla found herself increasingly excluded from major decisions and events. She still attended official functions, but her role had become largely ceremonial. Charles no longer sought her input on important matters, preferring to discuss strategy and planning with Kate instead. The shift was gradual but unmistakable. Kate handled her growing responsibilities with remarkable grace and humility. She never seemed to seek the spotlight for its own sake, but simply focused on doing her job as effectively as possible. Her genuine commitment to service impressed everyone who worked with her, from senior courtiers to kitchen staff. The transformation affected their personal relationships as well. Charles began spending more time with Kate and William's family, becoming a more involved grandfather to their children. He loved watching Kate interact with the young princes and princess, seeing how she balanced discipline with warmth and fun. These family moments reminded him of the happiness he had experienced with his own grandchildren through Diana. Charles started inviting Kate to join him for his private interests as well. They would visit his organic gardens together, where she showed genuine interest in his environmental projects. They attended classical concerts and art exhibitions, discovering shared tastes and interests that went beyond their official duties. These experiences strengthened their bond and made their professional partnership even more effective. The success of their collaboration encouraged Charles to give Kate even more significant responsibilities. He began consulting her on matters of constitutional importance and including her in meetings with government officials. Her input was valued not just because of her position, but because of her intelligence and insight. As Kate's influence grew, she never forgot the lessons she had learned about royal service. She remained humble and focused on the needs of others rather than her own advancement. This authenticity was one of the qualities that made her so effective and beloved by both the public and the royal household. The royal tour of Australia and New Zealand became the ultimate test of Charles and Kate's partnership. This was traditionally one of the most important diplomatic missions for the British monarchy, requiring careful balance between honoring historical ties and acknowledging modern realities. Charles made the unprecedented decision to invite Kate as his primary companion for the tour, rather than Camilla. The announcement sent shockwaves through royal circles and the media. Never before had a king chosen his daughter-in-law over his wife for such a significant international mission. Palace officials carefully explained that Kate's role as Princess of Wales made her the appropriate choice for representing the future of the monarchy to Commonwealth nations. Camilla received the news with outward grace, but those close to her could see the pain in her eyes. She had been looking forward to the tour as an opportunity to strengthen her role as queen consort. Instead, she would remain in Britain carrying out domestic duties while Charles and Kate traveled the world together. The preparation for the tour brought Charles and Kate even closer together. They spent hours studying briefing materials, learning about local customs and planning their speeches. Kate's dedication impressed Charles deeply. She worked late into the night, memorizing details about every person they would meet and every place they would visit. When they arrived in Sydney, the welcome was extraordinary. Thousands of people lined the streets waving British and Australian flags. The crowd's enthusiasm was infectious, and Charles could see how much they loved Kate. Children held up signs with her picture, and adults called out personal messages of support and admiration. Throughout the tour, Kate's natural warmth and genuine interest in people shone through. She knelt down to talk to Aboriginal children, learning about their traditional games and stories. She visited hospitals and schools, always remembering to ask about the specific challenges facing each community. Her approach was never patronizing. She treated everyone with equal respect and curiosity. Charles watched with growing amazement as Kate navigated complex cultural situations with sensitivity and grace. During a traditional welcome ceremony, she participated in cultural activities with genuine enthusiasm while maintaining appropriate respect for sacred traditions. Her ability to honor local customs while representing British values perfectly embodied the modern Commonwealth relationship. The media coverage of the tour was phenomenal. International newspapers praised Kate's performance, with many noting that she had brought new energy and relevance to royal diplomacy. Her fashion choices were analyzed and copied around the world, but more importantly, her substantive conversations with world leaders earned respect from serious political commentators. One particularly powerful moment came during a visit to a memorial for Indigenous soldiers. Kate delivered a speech that Charles had helped her write, but her delivery was entirely her own. She spoke about the importance of remembering all who served and honoring diverse contributions to shared history. There wasn't a dry eye in the audience, and even hardened journalists were moved by her sincerity. The tour also showcased their excellent working relationship. Charles and Kate complemented each other perfectly, with Charles providing historical context and constitutional gravitas, while Kate brought contemporary relevance and emotional connection. Their conversations with government officials were productive and substantive, covering everything from trade relationships to climate change initiatives. During private moments, Charles found himself confiding in Kate about the challenges of modern monarchy. She listened thoughtfully and offered insights that helped him see familiar problems from new angles. Her perspective as someone who had chosen royal life rather than being born into it gave her unique understanding of public expectations and concerns. The success in Australia was repeated in New Zealand, where Kate's interest in environmental conservation resonated strongly with local values. She visited conservation projects and met with young environmental activists, showing genuine engagement with issues that mattered to New Zealanders. Her conversations were substantive and well-informed, proving she was more than just a ceremonial figure. Charles began to realize that Kate was not just supporting him on this tour, she was actively enhancing the monarchy's reputation and effectiveness. Her presence made their diplomatic mission more successful than it would have been with any other companion. She brought qualities to royal representation that couldn't be taught or faked. Back in Britain, Camilla followed the tour coverage with mixed emotions. She was proud of the monarchy's success, but couldn't ignore the fact that Charles and Kate were being celebrated as the perfect royal partnership. The media constantly praised their chemistry and effectiveness, often without mentioning Camilla at all. The tour's success had broader implications for the future of the monarchy. Commonwealth leaders specifically praised Kate's approach and requested more engagement with her in future diplomatic efforts. She had proven herself as a significant asset for British soft power in international relations. As their plane headed back to London, Charles felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The tour had exceeded all expectations, and much of that success was due to Kate's exceptional performance. She had shown herself to be not just a supporting player, but a true partner in royal leadership. Kate, for her part, felt energized by the experience. She had discovered new aspects of her royal role and felt more confident about her ability to make meaningful contributions. The tour had strengthened her relationship with Charles and given her greater clarity about her future responsibilities as a senior royal. Upon their return from the successful Commonwealth tour, the shift in royal dynamics became impossible to ignore. Charles and Kate's triumphant homecoming was celebrated across British media, with commentators noting their exceptional chemistry and effectiveness as representatives of modern Britain. The success had profound implications for the entire royal family structure. Charles found himself energized in a way he hadn't felt in years. Working with Kate had reminded him of the joy and purpose that could come from royal service when done with genuine passion and connection. She had shown him new ways to engage with people and causes, making even routine duties feel fresh and meaningful. The king began restructuring his schedule to include Kate in more significant roles. Traditional queen consort duties were quietly redistributed, with Kate taking on many of the most visible and important ceremonial functions. This wasn't announced officially, but palace insiders noticed the gradual but unmistakable change in priorities and responsibilities. Camilla's position became increasingly uncomfortable as she watched her role diminish week by week. Events she had expected to lead were reassigned to Kate, and meetings she had planned to attend proceeded without her. The transition was handled with typical royal discretion, but the message was clear to everyone involved. During a particularly challenging period, Charles confided in Kate about his concerns for the monarchy's future. They were walking through the gardens at Highgrove House, discussing everything from constitutional matters to family dynamics. Kate listened carefully to his worries about public support, media criticism, and the challenge of maintaining relevance in a rapidly changing world. Kate's response surprised and delighted Charles. Rather than offering empty reassurances, she presented thoughtful analysis and practical suggestions. She spoke about the importance of transparency, authentic connection with younger generations, and using royal influence to address contemporary challenges like mental health, environmental protection, and social inequality. Their conversations revealed Kate's deep understanding of the monarchy's role in modern Britain. She wasn't just performing duties. She was thinking strategically about how the institution could evolve and thrive. Her insights helped Charles see possibilities he hadn't considered and renewed his confidence in the royal family's future. The working relationship extended to policy discussions that went far beyond traditional royal concerns. Kate brought fresh perspectives on issues like education reform, technology's impact on society, and international development. Charles was impressed by her preparation and the depth of her knowledge on complex subjects. Meanwhile, Camilla struggled with her diminished role while trying to maintain dignity and support for her husband. She continued attending events and performing duties, but the spark and enthusiasm that had once characterized her royal work seemed to fade. Palace staff noticed her quieter demeanor and more subdued presence at official functions. The media began speculating openly about the changing dynamics within the royal family. Royal correspondents wrote detailed analyses of Kate's rising influence and Camilla's apparent stepping back from prominence. While palace officials maintained diplomatic silence, the visual evidence of the shift was undeniable in every public appearance. Charles and Kate's collaboration reached new heights during the planning of a major charity gala. Kate took the lead in organizing the event, demonstrating remarkable organizational skills and attention to detail. She coordinated with multiple charities, managed celebrity appearances, and ensured every aspect of the evening would maximize both funds raised and public engagement. The gala itself was a spectacular success, raising record amounts for various causes while showcasing the royal family at their absolute best. Kate's opening speech was passionate and well-informed, while Charles provided the gravitas and authority that comes with decades of experience. Their partnership that evening perfectly embodied what modern royalty could achieve. Following the gala's success, Charles made a decision that surprised even his closest advisors. He began including Kate in his weekly meetings with the Prime Minister and other government officials. These constitutional discussions had traditionally been private affairs, but Charles felt Kate's insights would be valuable for understanding public sentiment and modern governance. Kate's presence in these high-level meetings marked an unprecedented expansion of her role within the monarchy. She didn't just listen politely. She contributed meaningfully to discussions about policy and public engagement. Government officials were impressed by her grasp of complex issues and her ability to offer practical perspectives on political challenges. The transformation was noticed internationally as well. Foreign ambassadors specifically requested meetings with Kate, recognizing her growing influence within the British establishment. Her reputation as an intelligent and engaged royal had spread far beyond Britain's borders, making her a valuable asset for international diplomacy. As Kate's responsibilities expanded, she handled the pressure with remarkable composure. She never seemed overwhelmed by the increased attention or the weight of expectations. Instead, she approached each new challenge with the same careful preparation and genuine engagement that had characterized her approach to royal duties from the beginning. Charles found himself depending on Kate's counsel for both official and personal matters. She had become his most trusted advisor, combining loyalty to the monarchy with honest feedback about its performance. Her perspective as someone who had married into the family gave her unique insights into both its strengths and areas needing improvement. The shift also affected the broader royal family dynamics. Other family members began to recognize Kate's growing importance and sought her input on various matters. She became a bridge between different generations and perspectives within the family, helping to maintain unity while facilitating necessary changes and modernization efforts. The most defining moment came during the annual state opening of Parliament. This ancient ceremony represents the constitutional heart of British democracy, where the monarch formally opens the new parliamentary session. Traditionally, the Queen Consort would accompany the king in the elaborate golden carriage and sit beside him during the ceremony. However, Charles made the remarkable decision to invite Kate to fulfill this honor instead. The announcement created a sensation throughout Britain and the Commonwealth. Constitutional experts debated the precedent and implications, while media outlets analyzed every aspect of this historic departure from tradition. Many saw it as Charles's clearest statement yet about the future direction of the monarchy and Kate's central role within it. Kate approached this momentous responsibility with her characteristic blend of thorough preparation and calm confidence. She worked with palace historians to understand every detail of the ceremony's significance, studied the constitutional implications of the monarch's speech, and practiced the complex protocols involved in the ancient ritual. On the morning of the ceremony, Kate looked absolutely regal in a stunning gown designed specifically for the occasion. As she rode through London streets beside Charles in the Golden State coach, crowds gathered to witness this historic moment. The symbolism was unmistakable. The future of the monarchy was literally on display for all to see. Inside the House of Lords, Kate's presence commanded attention and respect. She sat with perfect posture and obvious engagement as Charles delivered the Queen's speech outlining the government's legislative agenda. Her understanding of the issues being discussed was evident in her attentive expressions and subtle reactions to key policy announcements. The international media coverage was extraordinary. News outlets around the world featured the ceremony prominently, with many noting that Kate's participation represented a new chapter in British royal history. Constitutional scholars praise Charles's decision as both bold and wise, positioning the monarchy for continued relevance in the modern era. Camilla watched the ceremony from the royal gallery, maintaining her dignity despite the obvious emotional difficulty of the situation. She understood the practical reasons for Charles's decision, but seeing Kate in what had been her expected role was undeniably painful. Yet she continued to support her husband publicly, even as her own position became increasingly marginalized. Following the ceremony's success, Charles felt validated in his decision to elevate Kate's role. The positive public response and media coverage confirmed his belief that she represented the monarchy's best hope for maintaining public support and constitutional relevance. Her performance had been flawless, demonstrating both respect for tradition and understanding of contemporary expectations. The partnership between Charles and Kate deepened further as they worked together on major policy initiatives. Kate's growing influence extended to areas like education reform, where her background and interests made her particularly effective. She began meeting regularly with education ministers and policy experts, contributing substantively to discussions about improving Britain's schools and universities. Charles also entrusted Kate with representing the monarchy at increasingly important international events. She traveled to European capitals for diplomatic meetings, attended global summits on issues like climate change and international development, and hosted foreign dignitaries with growing confidence and skill. Her diplomatic effectiveness enhanced Britain's soft power and international relationships. During this period, Kate's relationship with William remained strong and supportive. He understood the importance of his wife's expanding role and proudly supported her increased responsibilities. Their partnership provided stability and continuity that strengthened the entire royal family's public image and effectiveness. The success of Kate's enhanced role began attracting attention from constitutional experts and political scientists around the world. Her model of engaged, substantive royal involvement in contemporary issues was studied and praised as an example of how traditional monarchies could adapt and thrive in the 21st century. Charles found himself relying on Kate's judgment for decisions that went far beyond ceremonial matters. She became his closest advisor on everything from family issues to constitutional questions, providing insights that combined respect for tradition with understanding of modern realities. Her counsel was invaluable for navigating the complex challenges facing contemporary monarchy. The transformation also affected how the royal family approached their charitable work. Kate's strategic thinking and modern communication skills helped them develop more effective ways to support causes and connect with beneficiaries. Her influence made their philanthropic efforts more impactful and better aligned with current social needs. Palace staff noticed the positive energy that Kate brought to every aspect of royal operations. Her enthusiasm was infectious, motivating everyone from senior courtiers to household staff to perform at their highest level. She treated everyone with respect and appreciation, creating a work environment that attracted talented people and encouraged excellence. As Kate's prominence continued to grow, she never lost sight of the service aspect of royal duty. She remained genuinely committed to using her position to help others and advance important causes. This authenticity was one of the key factors in her exceptional public appeal and effectiveness as a royal representative. The media began referring to Charles and Kate as the new power center of the British monarchy. Their collaboration was seen as the key to the institution's continued success and public support. Royal commentators praised their combination of experience and fresh energy, traditional values and modern relevance. Meanwhile, Camilla's withdrawal from prominent royal duties became more pronounced. She continued fulfilling basic obligations, but her schedule grew lighter, and her public appearances less frequent. The transition was handled with characteristic royal discretion, but the implications were clear to anyone paying attention to the evolving dynamics within the family. 6 months after the historic state opening of Parliament, the transformation within the royal family had become the new normal. Charles and Kate's partnership had evolved into something unprecedented in modern royal history, a genuine collaboration between monarch and heir spouse that transcended traditional protocols and expectations. The culmination of this evolution came during Charles's annual Christmas broadcast to the nation. For the first time in royal history, A king chose to include his daughter-in-law in this most personal and significant communication with the British people. The decision reflected Charles's complete confidence in Kate's role as a central figure in the monarchy's future. The broadcast, filmed in the elegant surroundings of Windsor Castle, featured Charles and Kate discussing the year's achievements and looking forward to future challenges. Kate spoke eloquently about the importance of community support, mental health awareness, and the role of younger generations in shaping Britain's future. Her words resonated deeply with viewers across the Commonwealth. Public reaction to the joint broadcast was overwhelmingly positive. Polling data showed the highest approval ratings for the monarchy in decades, with Kate's inclusion being specifically cited as a factor in renewed public enthusiasm for the royal family. Social media buzzed with praise for her natural warmth and thoughtful insights. The success validated Charles's instinctive belief that Kate represented the monarchy's best hope for continued relevance and public support. She had proven herself capable of handling any responsibility, from intimate family moments to grand state occasions, always with the perfect balance of dignity and accessibility that modern royalty required. Meanwhile, Camilla had found a new equilibrium in her significantly reduced role. She continued supporting specific charities close to her heart and maintained her dignity throughout the transition. While her position had diminished considerably, she had accepted the reality with grace and focused on the causes where she could still make a meaningful difference. Charles reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. His decision to focus on Kate hadn't been planned or calculated. It had emerged naturally from recognition of her exceptional qualities and the monarchy's evolving needs. She had proven herself to be everything he had hoped for and more: intelligent, compassionate, dedicated, and genuinely committed to service. The international implications of this transformation were significant. Other constitutional monarchies studied the British model with interest, noting how Charles and Kate's partnership had revitalized public support and constitutional relevance. Their approach offered lessons for royal families worldwide about adapting to contemporary expectations while maintaining traditional values. Kate's influence extended far beyond ceremonial duties. She had become a trusted advisor on policy matters, a skilled diplomat in international relations, and a powerful advocate for social causes. Her background as a commoner who had chosen royal life gave her unique credibility with the public and valuable insights into contemporary British society. The working relationship between Charles and Kate had also strengthened the entire royal family. Her diplomatic skills helped manage complex family dynamics, while her modern perspective encouraged other family members to adapt and evolve their own approaches to royal duty. She had become a unifying force that enhanced everyone's effectiveness. As the year drew to a close, Charles felt more optimistic about the monarchy's future than he had in years. Kate's presence had brought new energy, purpose, and public enthusiasm to the institution. Her combination of traditional royal qualities with contemporary relevance provided exactly what the monarchy needed to thrive in the modern era. The transformation had been gradual, but profound. What began as Charles's instinctive recognition of Kate's special qualities had evolved into a complete reimagining of how the monarchy could function in the 21st century. Their partnership demonstrated that royal traditions could be honored while embracing necessary changes and innovations. Looking ahead, Charles knew that Kate would play an increasingly central role in the monarchy's future. Her preparation for eventual queenship was already well advanced, and her exceptional performance in every responsibility suggested she would be more than ready when the time came for her to take on even greater duties. The British people had embraced this evolution enthusiastically. Kate's popularity continued to soar, and her partnership with Charles had restored public confidence in the royal family's ability to serve effectively and relevantly. Their collaboration had proven that the monarchy could adapt successfully while maintaining its essential character and purpose. The story of Charles shifting his focus to Kate while Camilla quietly faded into the background represented more than just a change in royal dynamics. It was a demonstration of how institutions could evolve intelligently, how leadership could be shared effectively, and how the right partnership could revitalize even the most traditional organizations. As Charles looked toward the future, he felt confident that he had made the right decisions for both the monarchy and the nation. Kate had exceeded every expectation, and proven herself worthy of the trust and responsibility he had placed in her. Their partnership had not only succeeded beyond his wildest hopes, but had also secured the royal family's relevance and effectiveness for generations to come. The quiet dignity with which Camilla had accepted these changes, while personally difficult, had ultimately served the greater good of the institution they all served.